Let me know when we're live, ready to go. All right, it's 9 o'clock. I'll call this meeting to order. If you have your cell phones on, if you could please mute them or turn them off for the meeting. Becky, will you do roll?
Sure. Jack Scrogstead.
Here.
Dean Friel.
Here.
Katie White.
Here.
Ron Gascoigne.
Here.
Reed Acree.
Here.
Allie Hess.
Here.
Thank you.
All right, I don't see any public people in the audience. I don't see anybody on Zoom. So since the meeting in January was canceled, we need to review the County Services Committee meeting minutes for December 12th, 2023. If everyone has had a chance to look at it, if there's no changes or corrections, the minutes will stand as presented. Any corrections that you guys can think of? Okay, they'll be, they will stand as presented. Transportation, solid waste, Dave Anderson. Dave, would you like to walk us through your report and the 4 items that you have on the agenda, please?
Sure. Okay. Going through the report in terms of our current projects, we just had a bid letting on Friday. Close to about $1.9 million worth of work. Those are listed in a table there for you to vote on to award as applicable later on in your action items. I do say that bid tabulations are attached. They aren't technically attached to this, but you can find our bid tabulations for every bid letting that we do on the website under the Highway Department tab or link. So you can always go there. You can always take a look at who got what, and all the pay items are listed out with the quantities and unit costs there. So you can always take a look at that. And we usually have that up by about noon-ish the day of the letting, provided technology works okay. Sometimes we get snagged up there, but that's all generally available for the public, you folks in the public, to see pretty soon after we get the projects let out. Some other things we're doing besides getting a lot of other projects assembled, we will have bid lettings coming up the next couple months as well. We'll continue on doing our bridge inspections. We've got about 75 of those to do in February, NBIS bridge inspections. And just as a note, we do have the county roads posted down in weight limit for the spring thaw. So hopefully sometime soon we can lift those restrictions. Seems like things are starting to settle down and firm up. Got your board action items there. I'll just skip the solid waste real quick. Do have a contract in place for next year for the e-waste, and did want to make note that each year, per the host agreement we have with Republic, the host fee gets increased by the CPI, and I send them a letter to that effect. And so I've just got the new host fees. It's a 2-tiered system for tons under 1,000 tons a day, and then tons over 1,000 tons a day. So it's a 2-tiered system, which is listed there, and you can see your per ton host fees that we receive, just for your information. So in terms of board action items, just got a series of 3 things for reappointment for my position, and then the award the bids. And I don't know when you want to do that, through new business or however you've got that laid out. So.
I've got it laid out that as soon as you get done with your report explaining everything, and then we'll just go ahead and vote on all of them all at once if nobody has a problem with that.
Oh, I should point out, I want to point out on the we'll just call it the little tabulation that you've got there for who got what jobs. There was a tie right down to the last cent. And so that has not been resolved yet, but it will get resolved. It's the second from the bottom, the Leaf Center Township hot mix asphalt wedging project, tie between Martin and Universal Asphalt Company. So what we'll do there is it's all laid out in the Bureau of Local Roads and Streets manual on how to handle a tie. The awarding authority, us, and IDOT will determine which game of chance we would like to use in order to break the tie.
Flip a
Most
coin?
likely, it's going to be a coin flip, but we'll figure that out. Actually, probably today. IDOT wasn't in yesterday, so we'll probably figure that out today. The two contractors have the opportunity to be there when the coin flip or roll of the dice or the straws get drawn, whichever it may be, and that'll determine who wins.
Okay.
So,
All right, any questions for Dave before we go into this? Okay, on your on board, there's some documents in there that we need to take care of. So I need to, is there a motion to move the agreement for the county engineering salary to the finance committee for consideration? Katie White first, Dean Friel seconds. Any discussion on that? All right, no discussion. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, motion carried. Okay. The resolution reappointing the county engineer. Is there a motion to move the resolution reappointing the county engineer to the executive committee for inclusion on the February county board agenda? Mr. Gascoigne first. Dean Friel seconds it. Any discussion on that? All right, no discussion. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Same. Motion carried. All right, resolution for the salary of the county engineer. Is there a motion to move the resolution regarding the salary for the county engineer to the finance committee for consideration? Dean Friel first, Katie White seconds it. Any discussion on that? No discussion. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Same. Motion carried. Okay, for the February bid results. Dave has provided a list of the committee with a list of projects and the bids that were received by the Highway Department on February 9th. This information will be included in the written minutes. Is there a motion to award the bids as presented to the committee, subject to the Highway Commissioner's concerns as applicable and IDOT review? Mr. Friel first. Mr. Gascoigne seconds it. Any discussions on that? All right, no discussion. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Same. Motion carried. All right. And there's no other solid waste other than that information on that. And when's that start up? Because I'm starting to pile up.
what's that? I'm sorry.
The electronics, when's that start? April?
Oh, yeah. Generally April 1st or thereabouts. I don't,
All
unless
right,
it's
I got some piling up.
whatever the,
Me too.
kind of the first Monday there of April is, you might say. Yep.
All right. Any other
Yep,
questions?
We get probably 3 calls a day.
I bet. I bet.
So-
All right. Well, anyway, I appreciate that. All right. Any other questions for Dave? All right. I see Jennifer's here. Jennifer Boyd, Assessor's Office. Jennifer, would you like to walk us, the committee through your report?
Good morning.
Morning.
Yes, so the Illinois Department of Revenue tentative abstract was sent in December. This reporting tracks the parcel counts, property classes, and assessed values in our townships. The IDOR requires this information to decide if any additional multipliers should be added to our assessments. And I just wanted to point out that Lee County assessments were determined to be at 33.33% of market value for the 3 years that they consider, 2020, 2021, and 2022. Therefore, the tentative equalization factor will be 1, so 0 additional multiplier will be added from the state. So I just would like to recognize all the assessment and GIS staff for their dedication in reviewing, assessing, and fairly distributing the tax burden. For the 3-year average to hit the bullseye of 33 1/3%, right on target, I feel is validation that our office is doing our job right, and the dedication that our staff has to our job. In the past 10 years, I reviewed, the assessment levels has always been in the range to receive the no extra equalization factor. We've always been in the range to get that 1.0 equalization factor from the state, but we've never hit the the target exactly at 33.33%. So I just thought that was pretty cool, that we hit it right on the nose, and I wanted them to be recognized for that. The Board of Review met this month to review the 77 docketed appeals. Proposed change notices were mailed out Thursday, February 1st. The hearing dates are scheduled for February 16th in the afternoon and February 21st in the morning. I've been in contact with the head bailiff, Ed Stewart, and he's working on having extra coverage in the building during hearing times. Those tend to be contentious hearings when we get to that point where they've been through all of the process and are scheduling those hearings. So the bailiff is working on having some extra coverage here in the building at that time. Once the hearings are complete, we will be able to wrap up the 2023 assessments and complete our final abstract to the state and roll our files to the clerk's office for the next step in the tax cycle, which the extension takes over and applying the tax rates and the other steps that they need to do in completion of the tax cycle. Our annual assessors instructional meeting is scheduled for Thursday, February 22nd at 3:30 p.m. At this time, the appointed and elected township assessors will receive their annual instructions, task lists, and assessment books for the year. So they'll get started on what they need to be doing for this upcoming year. Assessment office staff have already begun reviewing their parcels for the quadrennial reassessment townships for 2024. Those townships will be East Grove, Hamilton, Marion, South Dixon, Harmon, and Nelson for the upcoming year. So as we're wrapping up the 2023 tax cycle, we're already jumping into 2024. So that's kind of what's been going on with the assessment office. Sammy's not able to be here today. He turned in a full report of what he's been up to this month and his new GIS tech, Logan. In addition to their normal monthly tasks, some of the things I'd like to mention is that they were working on calculating the annual contribution for new parcels as for the split and drainage listing report. That's something that's kind of the last thing that we do once all of our assessments are finalized. Once all of our splits and combinations are done for the year for 2023, then we have to do this split drainage listing report, and that's another thing that we have to help for the clerk's office to roll with for their extensions. The GIS office also worked on creating a dashboard web app for the Lee County Emergency Management Agency. That was something that they were updating for the new server that hadn't been updated yet from the old server. Updating the EagleView Connect Explorer services and configuring the layers and appearance, and implementing the new Rapid SOS Premium Mapping Solution with the 911 Center for effective and enhanced emergency situational awareness. So those are some of the GIS projects in addition to their regular monthly parcel splits and combinations and maintaining and updating land use zoning and other GIS services and their other 911 commitments that they have. So are there any questions?
Any questions for Jennifer? Okay, Jennifer, yes, please pass on to your employees. And as with all our county employees, we appreciate all the dedication and work that they do here. And especially with the GIS, that is such an ever-evolving project there that it's been a great tool for this county.
It absolutely is. And Sammy is very excited to take on new projects and work innovative ways. So we're excited about that.
Perfect.
All right, thank you.
Okay, next on the agenda, it has county board, and that usually is Jeremy. Jeremy, I didn't know if you wanted to take this opportunity to talk about, or you want to wait for new business with that
Yeah, sure.
broadband plan or not,
okay.
you know?
So something that is kind of has come on quick is, and we continue to take on calls is from different, villages and townships and areas that have lack of is, broadband. And there is, a few years ago, the county was involved in a broadband initiative, in a multi-county initiative, and it did not really go anywhere. We did not receive the grant that we were applying for. And this year, there's another initiative called Broadband Breakthrough. It is through the Benton Institute in partnership with the Illinois Soybean Association, as well as Illinois Extension, DCEO, and some other partners. There's $1 billion in broadband infrastructure that's going to be invested, and that is continuing to be invested in the state. And the idea is that I would like to see Lee County potentially get a piece of that. So the goal is this Broadband Breakthrough Initiative is actually, the cohorts have already been selected, but we were able to potentially get in if I get an 8 to 12 person team together throughout the county by the 16th. So that means I have 3 days to try to get some folks together to be committed to a 16-week initiative. It'll be 1 day a week that we will meet by Zoom or online 2-hour meetings. And essentially what that's going to do, we're going to create a broadband vision, some goals, outlining some desired outcomes for broadband being structured and the infrastructure placed throughout the county. We're going to conduct some surveys. There's going to be interviews with prospective broadband providers that will actually work with us to give county-wide broadband, or as much as we can throughout our infrastructure plan, as well as create some presentations to the community and get some more community feedback. It's a big haul. It's a heavy task, but if I could get 8 to 12 members to join our county cohort from across the county. I've already identified some folks that I know would be interested, or some stakeholders that I think would be pertinent to have included in this group, specifically as we're talking about more of the rural areas. So, township supervisors, obviously folks from E911, the Farm Bureau, folks like, from the grist mill, and in places where they're having, they have the need for services, but they're having a hard time getting actual connectivity there. So just a heads up that, this is something that we continue to get questions on is hey, what's the county doing? How are we assisting in creating an actual broadband infrastructure plan throughout countywide? And this is one of the ways we can do it. So it's a task, it's an initiative that, as I said, it's kind of a big ask for some folks to commit to a 16-week program, but you could do it from wherever you need to be. It's 2 hours, 1 day a week, where we'll have to meet, and there's going to be some extra pieces to it, but just be aware that I will be reaching out to some folks, and if you have any interest from a board level, please let me know. I know some of you, quite a few of you live out in rural communities or rural areas where connectivity is poor, and this is not just cable, internet. We're talking also fiber broadband too. So please reach out.
Okay, great. Katie and Ally, how's your broadband or your accessibility? Nothing.
No, we have access to nothing.
Nothing.
I use LR Communications in Leaf River, and it's amazing.
Okay.
So mine's
All right.
really good.
Well, I mean, obviously we could use some help out there, especially with people in the rural area that doesn't have any. So,
Yeah, and with, the Illinois Soybean Association joining in, their biggest approach is, and they're investing in this program, is, accessibility for farmers too. So, I know there's obviously satellite options and other pieces out there, but there's still a need for infrastructure layouts throughout the county and
Exactly.
plans.
Yep, exactly. Okay, any more questions for Jeremy? Thank you, Jeremy, on that.
Thanks.
Okay, County Clerk and Recorder Nancy Peterson, would you like to share your report with our
Sure.
committee?
Good morning. Shout out to Jen. Sorry if you heard some commotion in the hallway. We were trying to help a gentleman and Jen was being very nice and he was not happy. Anywho, onward.
Not help you with Jennifer, or just not have
With the
overall?
answer that she had for him, and then I was trying to help, and
I don't think he was happy with either of us, but it had nothing to do with any of us
any
here.
of us, but yeah. I
But
mean,
thank you.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we tried. At least we tried.
We tried very hard
I'm sorry.
on
Go
this
ahead.
Tuesday morning. So early voting has started. Election is busy down on the first floor. February 8th was the first day for early voting. Also, your lovely yellow economic interest forms went out. So if you didn't receive one, please stop by the office on the first floor. they can print you off another one. And just a reminder, on the website, there is the guidelines. It's called the definition of terms that was new in 2022. So that form does look different from previous years. Also, what I want to highlight is Wednesday, or which would be tomorrow, is our annual election judge class that we have moved to the Holloway Center. The reason we did that was the uncertainty of the elevator. Obviously, the majority of our election judges take the elevator. So that is tomorrow at 8:30 and 10:30 at the Holloway Center. Again, I want to emphasize we're always looking for election judges. So if you guys have anyone that would be interested in that, please have them call my office on the first floor. And that's really all I have for right now. Any questions?
Have you got any new ones that have come in so far, or are you losing them? Judges?
You know, we gain 5 and then we lose 4. So we're always in the negative,
Right.
unfortunately.
Okay.
And it's a paid position.
Maybe, maybe something out on our new Facebook page we could put out there. We could ask. Sorry.
That would be awesome.
Jeremy was asking, I wonder what we could put out for our first one.
That's exactly right. So maybe we could craft something together, Nancy.
Okay. And then everyone, hopefully on this board, if we could become a follower of that Facebook page and maybe share that as well. Get that out to our people that live in the county so we can, we desperately need some election judges. It'll make the election process easier and better. So, all right, with that said. Okay, IT Department, Paul Gorski, would you like to share your report with the committee?
Sure. Thank you very much. Unlike Sammy and Jennifer, I am not excited about any new projects. We have plenty to do right now. So thank you very much. But there was a half hour of time that I had free to turn in my report almost 2 weeks early and file my statement of economic interest. So I think I was the first one to turn in my statement of economic interest and get my report in. So, but what's keeping us busy pretty much is a lot of work at the LEC, working with Jeff Hilden and his team. Thanks, Jeff. Right now, body cams, we're going to be rolling out there next week with some training the week following after. We're not involved in the training, but we're involved in some of the technology set up. And then some new word processing software on tablets out there and some cabling and some office moves. That's our primary focus right now because we've already got the treasurer moved in their temporary location and we're wrapping up Dave Anderson's new computer at the highway. And so we have no financial items for you and no actionable items. So, and I'd just like to thank on behalf of Jonathan Henriksen and Justin Carr and myself, thank you. Jonathan and I have just now reached our 3-year anniversary here, and in a few weeks here, Justin will be here a year. So thank you for allowing us to serve Lee County. Thank you.
Yes, we all appreciate your, again, all of our employees' dedication here at Lee County. All right, any other questions for Paul on that? Okay, thank you, Paul. All right, lots, Greg Gates. Would you like to share your report with the committee?
I will try, Jack.
Thank you.
I think everybody actually has the report in front of them in terms of what I have sent out already. Just hitting some of the highlights and looking at the 3-month rolling ride data so far for November, December, January. You can see roughly 21,625 rides were provided during that 3-month period. 7,000 service hours, miles of service, just over 180,000. And fuel expenditures, I like that. That is actually trending downward in terms of cost, but we accumulated a total cost of fuel expenditures of $47,987.39 during November through January. Having given this report out to this committee, I don't think recently, but we touch on our service contract that we have with Crest Foods out of Ashton. So we had a chance to look back at the entire calendar year for 2023. And what we provided was roughly just under 5,000 rides for their employees during that time frame. 304 rides were what we would term in town. So it's probably from the Ashton, Franklin Grove area. Everything else is considered out of town, which was 4,654 rides. And what we actually charged total, which we send out a billing statement every month, is roughly $26,205. Staying with financials, we currently are in the process of starting FY 2025 contracts. Some good news from IDOT. They did a catch-up in terms of downstate operating assistance or DOPE funding. This current fiscal year, we did not have a 10% increase. So what is being projected and proposed and that we're planning for is a 20% increase to catch us up, making good on this current fiscal year's lack of a 10% increase. So our total for DOPE funding is 1.867 million. Those other figures, the 5311, 283, 450, and the 5311F contracts, which are the 2 Greyhound routes, those are remaining stagnant at 1.1 million and $929,000. Working with rural Winnebago and the Winnebago County officials on solidifying an agreement to start the purchase transportation for rural transit as of July 1st. I did not update, unfortunately. I got some new figures for the 5311 contract up there. That's just over 207,000. And DOPE contract for up there is 798,000. Continuing work on the conversion of lots to the Reagan Mass Transit District. We had a meeting with the state's attorney's office last Friday, and things are progressing with our attorneys finalizing the definitive agreement of the transfer of assets and the schedule associated with that agreement. So cross your fingers. Hopefully something will be pending within the next 30 days, if not sooner. Good news out of IDOT also that our 2022 CVP, which is the Consolidated Vehicle Procurement, how we get new vehicles, they actually awarded 6 of the 10 proposed vehicles. So we're getting 2 new minivans and 4 light-duty buses and potentially some additional vehicles. We have our third-party organization that we're working with on 2 feasibility studies this week. We had meetings yesterday here in Dixon, and today they'll be in Rochelle talking with critical stakeholders and others interested in looking at the feasibility of setting up fixed routes for one here in Dixon and one in Rochelle. So I find that rather exciting. And I think the last piece I have is there's another study that we just got an executed contract on, and that's for the state planning research arm of IDOT. And I think I told this group previously, that will look at just transportation needs in general or for the population of Lee and Ogle counties. And not just public transportation, just transportation needs in general. One last piece of data that I just pulled off Jack this morning was ridership on the 2 Greyhound routes, and it's trending much higher than any previous fiscal year that I've been affiliated with. Right now, we're probably going to get close to 20,000 passenger rides on I-88 for the fiscal year, and on I-39, it's going to probably fall around 12 to 15,000. So those are both up significantly from previous fiscal years. That's all I have unless somebody has questions.
Any questions for Greg? I just wanted to comment. So when this new Reagan Transit takes over, you will no longer blessing us with your presence on our meetings?
I will gladly show up, Jack, if you want me to, and give out a report on a monthly basis. Absolutely.
I just love looking at these stats, and just how people are taking advantage of it, and you got a partnership with Crest to help get employees there to keep that workforce going throughout our county. Sometimes people just can't drive or, whatever the reasons might be. So I just think that's awesome that we have this available in our community. So, all right.
And moving forward, Jack, I sincerely would continue on a regular basis reporting out to the committee if they would like. I still view Lee County as well as Ogle County as partners. We're still here. So.
Okay. All right. Any other questions? All right. ROE, Chris Tennyson, would you like to walk us through your report?
I would. Thank you. Well, again, this is a report that covers the last 2 months, so I know it's 14 pages. There's a lot of important stuff in there, and I hope you do get some time to look through it. I'm only going to highlight a few things in the interest of time. All of you that know me know one of my passions is school security because of my background and making sure that all of our educators and our students go home safe every night to their families. So one of the big issues that's facing our schools now is the issue of reunification after we have an incident. All of our districts have a plan for reunification, but to actually have practiced it and to know how they would handle that situation of reuniting their parents with their students and making sure that all students and staff members are accounted for is a very time-consuming thing, but I think it's important. So one of the ways that we can practice that, and I mentioned that in the opening paragraph of the report, the I Love You Guys Foundation, they're basically experts in this process of reunification. And Josh Knuth and I went to Peoria and attended a Train the Trainer course for that. And we have come back, and many of our school districts in Lee and Whiteside counties, their reunification site is Sauk Valley Community College. So we are currently working with Sauk and with several police departments and a couple of our superintendents to get a training scheduled in May through the Illinois Fire Institute, where they will come out. It's 2 days of training. The first day of training is for the law enforcement and EMS people, and then the second day is for the superintendents, and that day involves a full-scale practice of a reunification at Sauk Valley Community College. So we're working hard on that and looking forward to getting that scheduled, and I think it will be a big deal so that all of our schools can have 2 or 3 administrators or 2 or 3 personnel there for this training and actually walk through a reunification training. So I'll keep everyone posted on that. If you look at our professional learning and ed services bullets, it's just amazing the stuff that we get done every month for our communities, for our schools. I did want to mention that our PD department did a needs assessment survey in January 2024 to better understand trauma and social, emotional, and other professional learning needs in our 3 counties. We're over 150 responses now. I've gotten a lot of good feedback on where the gaps are and services that could be provided. And we're working with our community partnership advisory group to report on those things. We haven't done a ton in education with building leaders out of our students. So I'm happy to announce that we have scheduled a high school leadership summit that's going to be at the McCormick Center on March 15th, 2024. It's going to be for high school freshmen. And working with some of our schools, we've already got over 100 high school freshmen signed up to attend that leadership summit. I'm looking forward to that. Our family educators and coordinated intake specialists have really stepped up their game and attended over 36 community events and reached over 10,000 families with parent-child activities. If you look at those bullets on the third page of the report, there's just some data on the things we've been able to attend and provide family-wide for our counties, and I hope you do get a chance to look at that. Also, going over you can see some of our upcoming events. The flyers are all there. I'm excited about that Cultivating Connections and Agriculture event that we're putting on March 1st at Teton's Grain. I know I'll be attending that and looking forward to how we're going to build younger people wanting to be in the egg business, and I know it's an important part to our area, so I'm looking forward to that. And you can see some of our other scheduled activities that are coming up. Also wanted to highlight, you can see our professional development sessions that we've taken care of. I also wanted to highlight one neat thing that happened with our Nexus program, and that's in the middle of the report. We just had 2 citizens, Devin Nicholas and Emily Used, step up and want to help provide meals for our Nexus families on Christmas Day, and they did some work and cooked lasagna and actually provided Christmas meals to over 50 families that are involved with our Nexus program. So we're very thankful to them and being able to help those families. It was a wonderful thing. Professional learning, the students, our school attendance support program. We have been really working to expand our documentation system. When I took over the ROE, we were several years behind on our audits and not really focused on that. The only thing I'm focused on is getting caught up, and we've been working really hard on that. So we have we're in the process of completing our 4th audit in a year and a half, and we'll be 1 year away from being caught up. But one of the things that came up in our audits was documenting our employees' time studies, where they're at, what grants they're working for, how that's getting done. And our employees do a great job of that. But one of the ways that we're going to attack that is we have this new data collection system called Airtable that we've installed at our office, and all of our grant employees, all of our employees actually are going to be able to use it, and it provides a great program for them to enter where they're at, what they're doing, and have those time studies available for our audits. So we're excited about that new program, and it's very easy to use, and I think will be a great thing for us moving forward. Our education outreach program continues to really get out and even grow. I was really worried with Beth retiring that the program would continue to do as well as it did, and I couldn't be any happier. Rhiannon has taken over and has really jumped in, and they did have a holiday party in December for the education outreach and parents as teachers first year that was well attended at our office. That was really neat. We did have 2 graduates recently, Zach and Wraith, and then we have multiple students advancing in their post-secondary education with this grant that we have through BEST. We've got 1 welding certification earned, 2 new welding enrollments. Our multi-craft student at SAUC got a Dean's List recognition and CNA classes for another. So student enrollment's ramping up as well, introducing 9 new students to class in February with more to come. We now have 69 active students working on getting their high school diploma and 21 in follow-up seeking employment or career growth. So very happy about that. Center for Change, our school keeps rolling forward. It was a rough month. January is a little bit of a rough month for all of our school districts in the 3 counties with the weather and some interruptions, but very happy to announce that we did have 4 more seniors graduate high school at the semester, and an 8th grader completed the requirements to move on up to 8th grade. So continue to be busy at our office. I'm happy to take any questions.
Any questions for Chris? Thank you, Chris, as always. Continue to do what you're doing. It looks like you're going in the right direction with these kids, so. All righty. No veterans assistance. Next, zoning planning. Alice, would you like to share your report with the committee?
Sure. Good morning. Actions coming from the Zoning Board of Appeals this month are none. Actions going to the Zoning Board of Appeals this month, we have a petition for special use for the purpose of a 5-megawatt community solar energy system. It will be a community solar project located on Kilgore Road in Palmyra Township. The next petition is a petition for map amendment. We have some citizens that would like to rezone their property from R2 to R1 so that they can have minimal farm animals on their property. There are no actions coming from the Planning Commission, and there are no actions going to the Planning Commission this month. And other news, on January 16th, the Zoning Board of Appeals was supposed to kick off its hearing on Stewart Creek Solar. That was subsequently continued to February 20th at 6 p.m. We do anticipate the presentation of evidence to start on the 20th. We have also set a second night of hearing for February 28th at 6 p.m. It is likely that we'll have a third evening of hearing, but that date has yet to be determined. The zoning department has continued to work with County Administrator Jeremy England and LUT's Executive Director Greg Gates on a grant application that would assist the county with the adoption of building codes. We successfully submitted our application by the January 15th deadline. Illinois Emergency Management Agency has received our application and is currently compiling all the state BRIC applications and preparing its final submission to FEMA. Last month, I had the opportunity to attend the Power Gen Conference in New Orleans. I thoroughly enjoy having the opportunity to go out and check out what the latest trends are in energy production. This year, the major trends are hydrogen and nuclear production, so I will continue to research these areas in case Lee County should see these come to us in the future. During the month of January, the zoning office processed 5 building permits. 4 of them were residential solar. 1 permit was for a single-family residence, and permit fees totaled $681.48. Additionally, last Friday afternoon, I got a late correspondence from Hexagon Solar. They had been requested to provide us with a biannual update on the status of their projects, especially since phase 1 was determined to be substantially underway by Ms. Duffy last year. Part of that was that she wants biannual updates so that we can continue to know the status of their project. So they have made it into PJM's first transition cycle. They're kind of at the front of the line following this long delayed period that we've had. However, even though they're towards the front, they're still projecting Q1 2026 before they break ground. Is there any
So just a reminder, this is the South Solar project from
No.
No, this is different.
This would be Stewart Creek. So Stewart Creek is out in the eastern part of Lee County. They have already, it's 600 megawatts, approximately 5,000 acres. Phase 1 has already been approved for its special use permit. And then at the end of last year, D determined that it was substantially underway. So that project is still out there. They are now petitioning for phase 2. That is the one that's starting here in February. And that will also be another 600 megawatts, approximately 4,000 acres.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure I wasn't clear myself. I knew that other one had changed hands and I didn't know what was going on with that one. All right, any questions for Alice on that? Just want to also remind everyone on this committee and other county board members is that the questions that you need to ask are during those hearings. So if you really want to know, either show up on Zoom, come to those meetings. They're at night, they're long, but you know, these are the times where you get to really know and understand what's going on. And so I encourage everyone to attend those who really want to know what's going on. All right, with that, let's see. Okay, we have, there are 2 petitions going to the Zoning Board of Appeals. Petition number 24P-1621 by Pulse Solar 2 LLC regarding PIN number 16-01-35-400-009, located in Palmyra Township. Is there a motion to move petition 24P-1621 to the Executive Committee for inclusion on the February County Board agenda? First moved by Dean Friel. Need a second. Second by Reed. Any questions, comments? No questions or comments. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carried. All right, and second petition number 24P-1622 by David and Lisa Dewey regarding PIN number 16-07-01-203-06, located in Palmyra Township. Is there a motion to move petition 24P-1622 to Executive Committee for inclusion on the February County Board agenda? Moved by Ally, seconded by Dean Friel. Any discussion? No discussions. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carried. Like Alice said, there's no petitions coming from the Zoning Board of Appeals. There's no petitions going to the Planning Commission, and there's no petitions coming from the Planning Commission. Did you comment on the resolution for the storage moratorium?
I realized I did not.
Okay, can you, before we go to that, can you explain what that is? And
Yes. So when the state of Illinois took over the siting standards for wind and solar, that does include battery storage that is accessory to a project. However, Lee County still needs to establish a battery energy storage system ordinance for standalone projects. So as we're continuing to work through that, and actually, my statewide zoning group is going to be addressing this matter in April. We are looking to put this under moratorium until we have time to establish an ordinance specific to battery energy storage systems.
okay, we've addressed this moratorium several times. We keep kicking the can down the road. And I just want to, kind of make this come to resolution if we can in the next coming months. So that's nice that you're having a group forming and to get a consensus of what's best for the state until the state tells us how to do this. All right, so with that said, there's a resolution battery energy storage extension. Is there a motion to move the battery energy storage system moratorium extension resolution to the February County Board agenda? Katie makes the motion. Dean Friel seconds it. Any discussion on this? No discussion. All those in favor by signify saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, the same. Motion carried. Okay, great. All right, there's no unfinished business. And there is, on the new business, I put on here just a topic for discussion only. It's a transportation ordinance. And we don't have the, we're currently working on some language on a transportation ordinance. We're going to be losing, Greg Gates with the, and the Reagan Transportation, which kind of handles a lot of our transportation stuff. So we're just looking at putting some ordinances out there to kind of ordinance or what's the word I want to use, Jeremy, for this?
Yeah, so, in conversation, we have, with lots transitioning over to the RMTD, it being a county service with Lee and Ogle County, along with statewide, transit and transportation issues. I think part of the discussion was to say, what do we even have in our ordinances or codes that reference anything along transportation, public transportation, or other ordinances. So we started taking a look at those things, and I think it's just something that a focus group and we're going to continue to take a look at to see if there's anything from a county level that we should be looking at or implementing. And with that, I think we'll probably be having some discussion with Greg from a public transportation level.
Right.
Because as it stands, there's nothing in Lee County code that has any type of governance over any of those pieces.
So this is just to kind of prepare this committee that this ordinance would be coming through this committee. So be prepared to, when you see a copy of that, get an idea, look at it, and then we can maybe talk about it more. I don't know if we'll have it ready for next month.
I don't know. I think it might
Right.
take a little bit. I know we started crafting some pieces of it, but
Right.
we haven't brought Greg into that conversation yet.
Right.
And that's, talking from a public transit scenario that has to be included in there. So I think the thing that, from a board's perspective, you guys are the ones that create the policy, and is to think about the lack of any sort of governance that we have over any of those pieces and what we would like to see. I mean, again, I think it's going to be an evolving process as we continue, as our mass transit district continues to grow, or other transportation or transit concerns, happen within the county or throughout the state. And that's just a piece that I think that focus group in this committee will have to continue to work on.
Great. All right. So anyway, go ahead.
Can we move back to Alice for just a second?
Sure.
So we have just a question. We received an email from a resident inside of District 2 pertaining to the allowance of livestock, specifically chickens, in an R2 zone. And in her email, she stated that you were having a meeting to reword chickens to potentially be permitted. So just maybe some clarity.
Yes. So we've been getting my office has been getting a lot of calls about chickens in the R2 district. So they're currently allowed in the ag zone. What we're running into is towns like Sublette, Compton, West Brooklyn, that fall under our jurisdiction that have R2 zoning, but are out in the rural areas. And so we're seeing people that are wanting the opportunity to raise their own eggs. We've been seeing this trend since 2020 when COVID came around. So I am working on language to present to my group to discuss this issue, to see if there's some way that we can make this work. It would be modeled off of the city of Dixon's current chicken ordinance, so we'd be looking to limit 6 hens, no roosters. They'd have to have enclosures, including fencing, and they would have to be set back from the, neighboring property line so many feet. So that's what we're looking to propose, and I'm hoping to meet with my group later this morning to discuss that further, so.
With the city of Dixon, are there any restrictions as to the purpose of the poultry? So it restricts it to specifically laying hens versus meat birds versus other types of birds?
Nope, they just limit it between hens and roosters. So as long as there's no rooster, but these are some of the things that we have to discuss. What if we were to allow this, what would we allow? So.
Okay, thank you for the update.
Yep.
Perfect. All right. I guess no executive session. And is there a motion for adjourn? Mr. Gascoigne and Ally seconds it. All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Thank you, guys.